Hello, everyone, and thank you, and welcome back. I am here with Ian Van Every, my co-host for the Addison Station podcast. We're big Cubs fans. We love the Cubs, and we're here to talk about them. It's great to have you back, Ian.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I'm excited to be here and talk a little more about Cubs baseball, like the team I definitely love more than anything. So let's get it rolling. Let's get it going.
It's been a minute since our last episode, but the past few series that we want to talk about are mainly St. Louis and Houston, right?
Yes, that St. Louis series, man, I don't like losing to the Cardinals. I just don't like it at all. And we can save the Wilson Contreras talk for the way end of it if we want. But why don't we focus on the first two games? What really went wrong in those first two games with the two losses to the Cardinals is what I want to focus on first.
I think Brown was the main reason for the first one. And, I love pitching. I love watching pitching, but he's not executing his pitches. He's leaving, a lot of hanging pitches down the middle, a lot of fastballs in that people can really crank, and that's what they did. They hit, 3 homers that game? And now,
Yeah.
since then, Brown has been sent to the minors, I believe.
Yes, he has his
So
options.
we do have options, but that also does mean we're looking for someone to take his place and try and figure out where we can get starters, at least. And going to the second loss, I think Tyone pitched a heck of a game, but I also think he got unlucky a bit with just like certain pitches that St. Louis were able to hit. Like he was executing his pitches, but St. Louis did a good job of hitting. They're okay, an away pitch. Let me hit it opposite field, and they were able to do that. And that's something that that's why they're in the MLB. That's why they're trying to do. But Tyone had to kind of go back and probably adjust to see like, okay, well, how can I work around them?
I mean, well, obviously we focused a lot on Ben Brown in the last episode, so I have a feeling we're gonna just ride what we said there. But it's in terms of Jameson Tyone, I have no frustrations with Tyone and how he pitched, especially the way he's been pitching lately. He had what 6 consecutive quality starts, or 6 out of his last 7, something like that, going into this. Um, the Cardinals, the Cardinals. This is what was throwing me off. The Cardinals are not a team that hits home runs at all. They have one of the lowest home run rates in the entire MLB. I think they're like 28th or something like that. I don't know. But they hit, I think it was it 6 home runs in 2 games, in the first 2 games? 6 or 7 home runs, something like that. Because I think they hit 4 off of Ben Brown. I can fact check that for you. But I think they hit 4 off of Ben Brown. And then I would go with 2 or 3 against Tyone. So yeah, that was a shock for sure. And I don't think Tyone definitely gives up the most home runs out of any Cubs pitcher. He's actually among the league leaders in home runs allowed.
But that's like the
Just
only runs he'll ever give up. He's very
it
good with it's either like ground balls or home runs, and
exactly.
it's one or
And
the other.
I don't fault him for anything like that. I think he was actually hit with a little bit of an ouster's jinx. I think it was JD who said, "Yeah, it's typically those little, just these little solo shots," and then like right after that, they hit like a 3-run homer, and JD was like as quiet as quiet can be. He was so disappointed in himself.
Stickers can't have that happen.
JD calls things unexpectedly, like all the time. The Chris Bryant home run will be his most legendary call, but he does it all the time. He called the Ian Happ leadoff homer in 2018. I don't know. This is a negative one for him, I guess. Well, thanks a lot, JD.
But then, like moving on to the two St. Louis wins, you have Boyd who pitched a great game, and the hitters came to hit that day, going, they got 8 runs. Bush, coming up very, very clutch, and then Imanaga back, after injury. Everyone was like wondering what was going to happen. A 3-0 win. It's kind of like Imanaga fashion. So
Yep.
I was happy to see that. And the one thing that I will say is we do have Palencia to close. He is throwing hard, to say the least. 102, 102, 102. And then
I
if
think I'll
one of
take
those
that.
isn't a strike, he'll mix in a slider. It's like an instant strikeout. So he's a very, very good closer. I think we obviously want more very solid starter. But seeing Imanaga back, especially like within Cleveland so far, within the past couple days, has been great. You have Imanaga. He kind of struggled a bit, uh, giving up a few runs, but overall he kept base runners to a minimum. He really, really battled. He brought energy. He doesn't seem as energetic as he once was when he's like in those stress situations compared to when he has 0 runs given up. But it was really, really nice to see Imanaga back. And then it seems like Boyd and Imanaga really are putting in a lot of the work. Tyone obviously is a great pitcher. Can't be upset with him, but he's gotten unlucky recently. And then, Rhea, Horton, they're just like fillers for people who we need.
I will say this: looking at that final game against the Cardinals and who actually pitched in that game, like, was the greatest thing I can ever see. If you look at every pitcher, we went Imanaga, Theobar, Keller, Pomerantz, and then Palencia. That is literally your top 5 crew pitchers. Now, Pomerantz is not going to pitch as much due to his age and wear and tear and not being out of the game for so long. But if I had to pick 5 pitchers to give me a game, those are the 5 right there. And those are the 5 that got it done. Now, with that said, Imanaga only went 5 innings. Because, I mean, his first start looked really, really good, don't get me wrong. He only gave up 1 hit, no runs. Obviously, this is a shutout, 3-0 win. But he struck out 3 batters. And his strikeout rate is one thing that was actually touched on by the announcers of the game last night when he was pitching. His strikeout rate is a little bit down this season, whether or not that's in relation to the injury or just a change in his approach. I don't know. But he gets a ton of fly balls regardless. So I don't really think that's going to dictate his numbers as much. But I would like to see him get those strikeout numbers back up again because it worries me that there might be some hitters that are starting to figure him out a little bit more, and the swing and miss rate might go a little bit down. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I just think it's at the end of the day, just the grit. Obviously, like you have a break coming up in the season. That's kind of what they're aiming for because Cubs have been playing nonstop. People are picking up on certain things, that's when you have to like go to the tape and see like, okay, well, you do your scouting on the hitters. You know what hitters you're gonna face. You know that they know you, and that's when you have to look at the development of like, okay, what can I develop to do good? Like, I think the biggest thing is Skeens developed an actual sinker, an actual changeup, and he was able to start fooling more hitters more with that because they started expecting his 100-mile-per-hour cutter, and now you have a cutter going this way, sinker going this way, slider, and then you have just 100 down the middle too. It's really hard to hit off of, and I think that's when it comes up with just pitch depth. When you have multiple pitches, you're able to perform better. And that's just what I think. I think it's similar, with Cade Horton. Obviously, kind of moving on to like the Houston series. In 4 innings, he gave up 7 runs. What was it? 8 hits, 2 were homers, and then 4 walks. It's not really competitive. He's obviously new to the game, so he doesn't fully know like what the scouting idea looks like as much. But he has to be able to use his whole entire pitch depth, use all the pitches that he has to actually get outs, rather than just relying on the 1 or 2 like really good ones. Because at this day and age, it doesn't work. I think Cade Horton is a great addition currently. Like he has been putting in the work, and he is new, so he is gonna let up a lot of runs in a game here and there. But he needs the development on how to actually work hitters. And I'm not a person to say I know how to work hitters. But I can give insight saying that when he gets ahead, all of a sudden he leaves more pitches over the plate than he should. And then he gives up hits, and then, after he gives up hits, he ends up walking people. 4 walks in 4 innings shouldn't happen. especially in the MLB. You should give up minimal walks.
I mean, look, I'm not going to get mad at any rookie, and especially the way he's been performing. It's completely fine. As you were saying, but walks are a killer, and especially in today's game, as we see stolen bases have gone way, way up in the last 2 seasons, ever since they enlarged the base size. And, I mean, people never really understood how much walks mean because, back in the day, hitting was a lot different. They weren't really focused on launch angle and, okay, I'm putting the ball in play, but where am I trying to hit it? Um, Power has gone way, way up. Anyone on the base path is going to be killer. That was one thing that we saw with Jameson Taillon is he wasn't able to get those solo shots and just the one homers that he constantly lets up. Well, as soon as you start walking guys, now you got guys threats on the bases. If you give up a 3-run bomb grand slam, now you're kind of screwed. That changes the entire landscape of the game. So I mean, walks. Am I going to be mad at Horton for how he was doing? No, because I think he's doing a tremendous job. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love how Ben Brown looked in some of his starts, but he's doing much better than what Ben Brown was doing. And I'd rather have him on this team than Ben Brown at the moment.
Yeah, and as you were saying, there's a saying that I have of walks turned into runs. I mean, especially like in the MLB, if you give up free bases, they gotta take advantage of it. And you see that. And another big thing is like being able to hold runners. Back in the John Lester era, when not as many people were fast, and he could just, as a lefty, just stare at them, and they wouldn't steal. They know he's not going to pick off, but they wouldn't steal. But now it's gotten to a game of you have to keep those runners close, because especially if you give up a free walk, if they get to second, it's almost a guaranteed run. Like, it's a guy in scoring position. That's scary. Even at first, he's a guy in scoring position. But I think how we played against Houston, even though we lost 2 games, wasn't bad. You have Taillon still pitching his heart out, and we lost 2-0 because our hitters couldn't hit. And that's one thing that I feel like we have relied on a lot this season is just our hitters like making up for all the runs that we give up. But if we can now with Imanaga back, we have Boyd who's been pitching well, and we have Taillon. Mix in another good starter.
Don't forget, Javier Assad is on his way back as well from injury. Who knows how we'll be able to contribute? But
that's the thing, is on his way back, and he's known for being on his way back from injury, being iffy. So I'm wondering how he is coming. I would hope he's good, but I'm just wondering how it's gonna go.
Well,
but
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how the rotation pans out.
Yeah.
One thing that I was seeing in that Astros series, not just me, the entire Cubs nation saw in that Astros series, is the sudden power surge from a little guy, or maybe not so little, called Nico Horner. Went to Stanford, took him all the way until late June, right at the end of June, to get his first home run on the year. And then he hit 3 home runs in 4 games. What the heck was going on with Nico Horner? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think one thing, looking at his swing, I will say Nico has always been a contact guy. He likes to kind of just poke at the ball because he's so good at finding it. But in the last couple games, and even what I saw last night, was he's focusing a lot more on launch angle the last couple games, and almost looked like he was looking for power. I mean, I think he struck out twice last night, which is like the first time he's ever struck out twice in a game. I don't know, I can't even remember when he struck out twice in a game. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's looking for home runs. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just making an adjustment to his swing. Do I think we really need him to be a power hitter? I don't think so. But, hey, that's on Nico to decide.
I also agree to that. But I think Nico Horner has always been there, and like maybe he was in a bit of a slump, but he still produces what we need. And obviously we have other great things coming up. PCA, Kyle Tucker both being in the All-Star game. Starters, Suzuki, I believe, is a backup. But that was very, very big to see. And I will say, I'm repping a Baez jersey. How he got AL outfield, center field starting position, out of my control. But he did. But the other person who I want to talk about is Matthew Boyd. You know, he's out here really, really dealing. He's 8-3 in total, but if you look at it, he's got 2.65 ERA. He's really putting in his work. He's got a 1.08 WHIP. There's not much you can really do, and he is getting all the innings out of him that you can. Like, obviously, the past few seasons, he didn't have that many innings pitched. He went, 70 and 46. He's already at 87 innings pitched this year. Or 98 innings pitched this year, I meant. And that just shows the depth that he now has, and he's kind of, been able to control through the past couple of years. But I love to see the improvement. Obviously, with Justin Steele out and Shota just coming back, Boyd has been a steady presence in the Cubs rotation. And that's one thing that I like to see. In the last 7 outings, he had a 1.66 ERA. I can't complain. But I hope he does make the All-Star selection. Obviously, I think that comes out today for pitchers.
I think it does as well.
Or today, as in the 3rd of July, is when we're recording this. Just a heads up.
When you're watching, you might already know, but we don't. We're stuck in the past.
But that's the one person who I think has been absolutely putting in the time and work and has been kind of like a person out of the shadows coming out. So that's one thing that I like.
I mean, Matthew Boyd has, without a doubt, been the person that holds the rotation together. Not to mention the fact that he's been rock solid at Wrigley. He's a 2.44 ERA at Wrigley with a 7-0 record.
Yeah.
That's
solid.
That has All-Star written all over it, to me. But then again, mix in a couple losses on the road. He still managed to have, I think he has a 2.65 ERA.
Total, yeah.
Total, with an 8-3 record. And 87 strikeouts. He's got a great whip.
All-Star break coming up. I'm excited. It's a good break. The Cubs need a break. We haven't had many days off. And this will be good for them. PCA, Kyle Tucker, obviously, great to have them come out. And, I always love watching the All-Star game, especially the mic'd up moments, like when Freddie Freeman went against Verlander mic'd up. Oh, it's just amazing.
It's a classic.
It's like
one thing I think with the break, the good thing with the break is our bullpen needs a rest really bad. Palencia and Keller are shot for the next couple games. They definitely won't be able to go tonight because I think Palencia obviously went back-to-back games. So did Keller actually go back-to-back games with a high pitch count. Not to mention the fact that you've had, I can't remember how many games it was, but we had pretty much the entire month of June with 2 off days, I think. And almost all of those games were on the road.
Yeah, so, Palencia's pitched in 4 of the last 7 games.
Yeah. He's shot. He's burnt out.
But, yeah, I'm kind of happy about that. And obviously, the MLB Power Rankings came out, or the ESPN ones, and we went down a level. We had the Astros past us. We went from 4th to 5th. I honestly think it's because the Astros won the series, and we have basically the exact same record. We're 51-35, they're 52-34. So they have one more win than us, and also won the series. Their hitting did look good in the series. I can't deny that. But Matthew Boyd coming out, doing what he does. We still have PCA and Tucker still hitting. Bush and Nico have been kind of bringing it back too. So I'm excited to see where this team is going. I think, a brief talk. We won't go over Skeens today of the trade deadline, but I would say that I think we should aim to get like Andrew Heaney. I think he is probably a great addition to the Cub. He has a 4.4 ERA, I think, and has been overall pretty dominant, minimizing the runs to like 1 to 3 a game. People were talking about Alcantara, but he just isn't having a good season. He's not worth what we would get out of him. So I think Andrew Heaney is probably the best bet for the starter we could trade for. And obviously looking for maybe one more bullpen guy so we can send maybe one of the guys down to get some more reps in AAA. But overall, I'm happy with how our bullpen's doing, keeping it a low ERA, and we just gotta fix a couple starters up or find a couple starters.
Yeah. Don't say I told you so, but I did say in the last episode, I'm pretty sure I said in the last episode, that we should target possibly Ke'Bryan Hayes if we want a third baseman. They're already in talks, and they're looking at Ke'Bryan Hayes.
I don't think we need a third baseman, though.
I think, okay.
Look what we have to prioritize.
I will
third
say
baseman
this.
Really a priority?
I think it's up to kind of Jed Hoyer and how he wants to play it. Matt Shaw is going to be a hole in the lineup. Whether you, want to believe it or not, his defense is going to be great. Don't get me wrong. He's got absolutely fantastic defense. But the hitting is not going to be there. And I already can tell you now, it's not going to be there in the postseason either. He's still trying to find his footing. Do I think he can come through and have an amazing October? Sure. But I don't think
likely?
we're going to be able to. No.
Yeah.
And the thing with Ke'Bryan Hayes is that perfect guy. Like you said, you don't really need an overpowering starter third baseman. Ke'Bryan Hayes is a guy that's going to give you really solid defense.
He does his job.
Top-notch defense. And he does his job. And he'll get you a couple hits in a series. He'll be able to kind of just turn the lineup over. He's not going to be someone who's like Matt Shaw.
An automatic out.
Who's either an automatic out or just still trying to find his footing. Here's another thing that I would look at a guy like Ke'Bryan Hayes is he's going to see a lot more pitches than Matt Shaw is going to see. If I'm looking at nine-hole hitter who's primarily in the lineup for defense, the main thing I want to see out of him is be able to turn the lineup over, see the most amount of pitches as possible, wear out that pitcher. Because if you get a pitcher that's tired after facing the 9-hitter, then you got to go face Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, PCA. It's a death sentence, really. That's all it is. Do I think that the Cubs will for sure trade for a third baseman? I don't really know. It's kind of just a judgment call, but I think they definitely could. Especially if they want to. I don't think they would trade Matt Shaw, but if they decided to get a big name pitcher, then you have to trade for a third baseman. So,
nice. Well, tonight we see Horton try and close out Cleveland, and I'm excited for that. And then we have the July 4th series with the Cardinals, and we both hate the Cardinals, so it's a big series for me, and I am ready to really put the pedal to the metal and come back on this next podcast.
I need to see a Cubs victory over the Cardinals.
Minimum 18-0 win.
18-0. Why not 20?
You heard it here first. If we get 18 runs, I will give away a Cubs hat.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna
hold. Get 18 runs in one game. I'm giving away a Cubs hat.
The fans and I are gonna hold you to that. Tommy Van Treek has officially. This is for you. He's officially promised to give away everyone a hat if we drop 18.
Not everyone. No. One Cubs hat. There will be a giveaway.
One Cubs hat. Okay.
If we get 18 runs in one game.
So Tommy Van Treek giveaway. If the Cubs score 18 runs. This series against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Whoa. This series? No. I said in one game. I think we're going to get 18 runs in that series.
No, that's what I mean. In a game this series.
Okay.
So for this series against St. Louis Cardinals, if the Cubs score 18 runs in a game against the Cardinals, Tommy Van Treek will give away a Cubs hat to one of you guys. So pay attention. Stay tuned. We will let you know. how to enter for that prize.
Of course. But anyways, that's all I have for today. I think that's all we got for today. But thank you for tuning in, listening. If you got this far, please, subscribe on YouTube, drop a like. We will have social media probably running up pretty soon. And I'm just excited to keep doing this and show my love for baseball. And it's great to be here with Ian every now and then. Gives me someone to talk to other than myself.
Yeah, my pleasure there, Tommy. Hopefully we get that Cubs hat out. I want the score. Cubs score 20.
Oh, Ian wants that hat.
I want that hat. Alrighty. Well,
thank you all.